Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we are doing something that I would like to have you be able to make at home. Relatively easy, quick, cheap stuff you've got at home. Let's call it the pantry kitchen. Okay, so it's stuff you usually have. I know the recipes that we will be doing on these shows will be probably pantry items. Maybe you might have something that's a little sophisticated like an anchovy. But other than that, you've got stuff in the pantry. So you just reach in and make the recipes. Today we'll start with, we're going to do quick breads. Now, quick breads generally do not take yeast, although it can be, we can make a quick bread. And I developed this using my chemistry background by putting together baking soda and baking powder, which actually works against each other to make, it's like a catalyst that makes it bloom like a yeast would bloom in a regular yeast quick bread or a longer type of bread environment. But this makes it bloom, which means it will rise. And a bloom is a rise. And so putting together baking powder, baking soda together, it's as good as using yeast, because right now with the situation we have in the world, yeast is priceless. I mean, a price beyond rubies if you can even get yeast. The internet has been sold out for years, but as a true foodie, I've been stocked up for a long time. I keep it in my freezer, and keep your yeast in the freezer. It won't go bad in there. And I use only one kind, which is a active commercial type of yeast, which is instant yeast, one rise. And we'll do a whole new show on that at another time. But today we're just going to focus in on the little quick breads. So I made beer breads. And beer breads are pretty fun to make if you've never made one. They don't require anything other than a bottle of beer, sugar, butter, and self-rising flour. Now, self-rising flour, if you don't have it, which some people don't, it is just a leavener added to, usually baking soda, to a regular type of all-purpose white flour. We call it AP, all-purpose flour. But you can actually use it by or just by the self-rising flour, which I do, and I use it for a lot of different recipes. It really makes a great fried chicken too, and that's another show. So today I made two different kinds of beer bread. One is the all-purpose beer bread, which is the basic recipe, which is this little guy here. Now it's got a great brown crust because butter has been poured on top of it. Now, if you don't know me by now, you'll get to know that I am the butter queen. I mean, I go through more butter than probably anybody else in this whole city, and my cardiologist is not happy. Too bad, give me a pill. I'll take the pill, but I'll take the butter too. So in this is, like I said, self-rising flour, sugar, a bottle of beer, and what did I say? The butter, self-rising flour, sugar, to activate the yeast in the beer. So the beer has yeast in it. It's a naturally fermented product, so it actually makes it rise. I'm going to cut this so you can see what it looks like, and then we're going to talk about this other one that I have here too on my baking rack. When I first started baking many years ago when I was a kid with my grandmother, she would take the bread out of the pan and put it on a burner on the stove because they didn't have baking racks. And when I started making a lot of bread, I thought, well, do I really need one? Can I use just the burner? So I invested in baking racks. They were relatively cheap. I got them on the internet, and believe me, they really do work. I hate to say it, but Nona was wrong, and these are pretty damn good. Okay, so let's cut this so you can see what it looks like inside. I will take my heavy knife, serrated knife, by the way. This is a Wusthof. This is stainless steel. And we will cut it. You can hear the crumb. And now you can see the inside crumb. Now you can use any kind of beer you want. I happen to buy dark beer for the reason if there's any left over, God forbid, I will drink it. Okay, so I like dark beers. I'm not into the ales or anything. A lot of people like them, but you can use any kind of beer, anything. Just don't use light beers. Frankly, light beers are like drinking soapy water. You know, you want something that's got some, can I say it? balls. It's got some hair on it, so you want some like that. So you bake this in about a 375 degree oven for about 40 minutes, and it comes out like this. You can see the bottom, it's perfectly done. The outside is crusty, and the inside is soft and moist. And it comes out perfect every time. You can't screw this one up. Believe me, you can't screw this one up. If my daughter can make it, anybody can make it. My daughter does not cook. Believe me, she doesn't cook. She reheats and thaws, and that's basically it. So the other one I made is this one. Now this is the experiment. I didn't do this before, so I kind of had some fun today. I decided I was going to play for you guys. So this is a cinnamon, brown sugar, allspice, and clove bread, beer bread again. Same ingredients that I just described in the previous beer bread, but this time I added some spices, brown sugar, white sugar, and here's the trick. You have to add a little bit of flour to it. Otherwise, the spices will go down to the bottom of the baking pan and then burn. Notice, no burn. Okay, ooh, one fell off, that's for me. Okay, so let's cut this one open and see what it looks like. And there's like a streusel in this inside of it. I mean, it looks pretty good, and impress your family, impress your friends, and anybody that comes over for dinner. Just whip it out there. It looks good, tastes great, and it's easy, and I guarantee you can do this. Now, before we quit here, I just wanted to show you what I've been doing. I've been doing some research for your courses here, or your classes, and this was yesterday's food section from the LA Times. And guess what is in here? We're on task with this show. They're doing old family favorites, pantry cooking, and things that you grew up eating. Look at this stuff. This is stuff that I grew up with. Well, my mother couldn't cook to save her life. But my grandmother, mac and cheese. I mean, who doesn't like mac and cheese? I made mac and cheese for a Memorial Day. It came out pretty good, but I added nutmeg to it and 3 different kinds of cheese. I had to jack it up. You can't just leave it alone. And no Velveeta. Please don't use Velveeta. Use grated cheese. It comes out so much better. I used cheddar, I used blue cheese, and I used mozzarella. Or in our family, we call it mozz because we're Italians. So these are all things that you grew up eating, and this is what is in vogue now, and this is what people are doing in their homes. They don't have access to a lot of products. They can't get out to shop. They don't know where to get them, number one. So again, our show here is going to do things that you're familiar with, but we're going to do a slight twist on them. So add maybe an ingredient or two that probably wouldn't be all that familiar, but it will be so much better when you add the new ingredients to the recipes that you've always made to give it a new look and a new taste. And you'll sit there and go, wow, that was pretty good. I did that. And believe me, you can do everything we're making on the show. So join us again next week, and we'll have more recipes. Thanks for being here.